This is Hoser's Vlog day 6, my first hose of the morning, and really, it's been about like pragmatic training, like I was mentioning in that other video, rehabilitating the skin, and I'm kind of seeing like back when I used to be into like movement therapy and body work, it was like there's a lot of focus on the fascia and like looking at how interconnected the body was. And I was mostly interested in the occulted knowledge of physiology, like so the structures of the muscles inside, like stuff that I couldn't see, tendons, bones, muscles, ligaments, cells, electromagnetic radiation, radio or electrical communication between cells at the DNA level or at the neurological level. I was interested in all of that stuff. But I was never super interested in the skin. And it's like the skin has to flex and move correctly. Like the perception of the skin has to be as accurate as the perception of anything else. Like it has to go along with the movement. And it's like it's the tire or the outer shell of like the entire movement pattern. So it's dealing with the shape and the form. Like the skin, the skin is what is dealing with the form. And so what creates correct form is correct skin functioning no matter what posture you're in. Because it's like the weakest part of a tire is where it pops, right? And then it's like nothing else matters. So if there's a weak point in the skin, then you're injured and you're bottoming out basically on the rim of the body, like on the internal structure. Like the internal structure does not matter. Like it doesn't matter what the inner wheel of the tire looks like at all to the performance of the wheel, as long as the skin of the wheel is inflated. So it's like that's like the only thing anybody ever needs to work on. And it's like, it's just the feeling awareness of being in terms of like what's most important in physical movement is just the skin. So if that's there, you're athletic. And like in focus too, because it's like the skin is a thought barrier. Like so, if you have interfering or invading thoughts, like that's because the skin malfunctioned. Like the skin has to shut off in a particular area for thoughts to come through. So it's like the skin is, yeah, just in terms of movement, exercise, and athleticism, it's like it's the only thing you need to focus on. I don't know about you, like it everything else takes care of itself. Like if you dig in past the layer that's just presented to you directly, then it's like the only thing you could possibly do is interfere, because it's like the complexity of how you would have to like if you're thinking of yourself in terms of like muscles or nerves or anything else like that, it's like all of a sudden you have a conceptual map of yourself with like thousands of moving parts and like thousands of things to deal with. Versus like if you're just like what's presented to you and what you feel, It's like you can have one moving part. So I can just you can just feel where areas of the skin are like dead. They don't transmit stuff. I don't know how to explain it. Like the being is just, so that the cold helps that. And then it's interesting to see, like, I was finding it just a little bit too, the river's just like so cold that, you know, I just wasn't having too much fun. So I did it and did a little hosing just for a quick shock, and then swam around for a while with my head above water to like just exercise my skin and get the suffering down as that layer or whatever forms against the cold. It's like you have to like make a shell and be like hyper accepting or open or permissive to it at the same time. And then that's like that's kind of like what I would describe asceticism as. It's like there's these things you can do that are uncomfortable, like only because of like your reaction to it. And then, like, you know, if you do like a cold shower in the morning or whatever, you're kind of like washing off suffering to like do it until you don't mind it anymore. Like, it's like this thing is like, oh, terrible, and then to continue to do it until you don't mind it anymore, like washes suffering away. So you could do that with like obviously fasting, work, screaming children, mosquitoes, sun exposure is probably like that. Like, you just continue to do something until it's not suffering anymore. The cold, giving money away, giving wealth away, giving your stuff away. Like, it's just like all those different practices. It's like you do it and they like, it's like, I don't like it. And then you just do it. You just keep doing it, and eventually it like doesn't bother you anymore. And then there's the freedom. So it's just sort of pragmatic hosing stuff going on. And yesterday I like saw, I think I would describe this very similar to how angels are described in the Bible, just predatory entities. And it's like I kind of figured out what I've been doing for the last couple of years, and it's like making portals to the other side, basically. And I'll describe the other side as like, I figured out another thing that's like the same as hosing, is like, if you've ever had your hearing tested, you sit in a incredibly quiet booth, and then you start out with loud noises, and you keep doing those noises at a lower and lower and lower pitch until you're sitting there and you start listening to your imagination. Like, you start hearing things that aren't there, and the tone gradually going away takes you right to that point. And then so it's serving as a portal or a bridge or a connection to like listening to your imagination. And it's like, there's another one, like if you did if you put a skate park bowl, and the point is just to go around in circles like you're going down a drain, so it's like slanted that way, and you just kind of go in a circular orbit. So it's like a ramp, and the whole point of the ramp is to go sideways on the ramp. That opens up the between space, like between moments, like where you're accelerating, you're between moments. The feeling of acceleration is between moments. So it's like you go sideways on a ramp, and that'll take you to the between moment for a very long time, where it's like on a ramp where you're not going sideways, you're either off the ramp or you're going so fast that the between moment is like overwhelming, but it's just going to the between moment. And then the hosing is it's like 3 or 4 different ways of going to the between moment at the same time, to the degree that I can't really explain it, but it's just kind of like that. And it's the same thing that people do, like liturgy will take you to the between moment, like in history or in time. Am I doing something ancient or something totally new? And like drugs will take you to the between moment, between consciousness states. So those are like portals to either side. So with like on the other side is stuff where it's like you can definitely see thoughts as these like giant, not thoughts, but it's like the same substance as thought. Like putting yourself in the location of, or like around, like by how, like the way that you talk puts you in particular areas, and there's like monsters, like it's almost like you could swim out to sea and it's like there's just sharks there. So there's like these things that look like they're all eyes and all beak. It's like a cloud of predatory essence. And it's like how many things have I done to deserve that thing like eating me? And so those things are like running around out there. But I don't know, it's just scary. I think they mostly leave you alone unless you're like trying to like court a bear or a lion or something. They're just there in the nature. Like these creatures of the full extreme of anything.